Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Cathy Perez is a mental fitness expert who combines different modalities to coach her fellow female activists how to create their self-care wellness plan that will evolve as they grow through different seasons of life. And so without further ado, it is my utmost pleasure and joy. Cathy, thank you so much for coming.
I am so blessed to be with you. Oh my goodness, this is going to be really fun.
So audience members, Cathy and I know each other from a mental fitness training program, and even though the title of this episode is about how to declutter, right, it still requires a form of mental fitness. Seriously. Cathy, tell us about why you really focus on the Marie Kondo method.
Well, first, thank you so much, my love. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on your podcast. So KonMari, right? So Marie Kondo, yes, I have met her. She's fabulous. She's about this big. I know she's so powerful though. So long story short, she was like me. She has been an organizer since birth. I have too. I've always used organizing basically to make a living. Well, I've delved into different types of organizing, right? But when it came to learning about the KonMari method, for the first time in my anxiety-filled life, because I've dealt with anxiety disorder all my life, I felt levity. I felt my stress level, which neutral might have been here, and it started to fall. So the KonMari method, again, there's nothing wrong with the other methods, and I've studied different ones to include feng shui, right, which is awesome. But never had I ever felt the connection, which is exactly what we'll talk about, the connection that KonMari method has made between something so mundane as organizing, and she married it with your soul, with the spiritual connection. That is, in fact, the difference.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Because very rarely do we discuss how the role of clutter in our homes, right? There's a purpose it serves, that we allowed it to gather. It's very much a elephant in the room that no one talks about.
It's most definitely energy. All of us are energy, to include the pen, to include my water bottle, right? It's all energy. And when you have too much of it that's not serving you and your purpose, that's negative energy, and that weighs on you. So when I talked about levity just now, it was true. All of a sudden, and again, coming from a very organized person, literally like all my life, I've been organized both mentally and physically. But when I went through this method on my own, it's copyrighted and trademarked, the Tiding Festival. When I had my own Tiding Festival, within that day, and I didn't finish in a day, but within that first day, I felt that levity that I talked about. And I'm like, how is that possible? Well, it's because what I no longer required around me and on me was no longer in my view. It was not going to serve me anymore. So give it up or give it to someone else, right? And let it serve someone else. And that energy then lifted me up. So instead of boggle down energy, negative energy, I was starting to levy up, right? Scale up the positive energy.
I love that. I love that. Audience, are there corners? I have clutter on every floor. It's been 6 months of decluttering here, and it's been very interesting. Doesn't the Marie Kondo technique, I read the book, but I can't remember specifically, Cathy, do we have to wear gloves and shine a different light on it?
No. So thank you so much. You are a person who has read it. A lot of people maybe have seen her TV shows, right, on Netflix, or maybe they perhaps, saw her on YouTube. But the fact that you read it, just like I did, meant that you at least took the time to actually delve into it, right? So the neat thing about this is that it is simple. It is so simple. So our pop culture hung on to it so quickly because it was simple. Then they found out it's not necessarily always the easiest. It's simple. It's 4 different steps, but it's not necessarily easy simply because of our own psychology.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not something, you can dabble in it, but if you really want it to actually flourish and to have long-term effects, you really want to actually go through it the whole way.
Yes. I guess I must have mixed it up with another friend who does a decluttering thing, and their recommendations were when you declutter, you set a time limit for it.
No, you can do that too.
Right?
Not in the KonMari method necessarily, but that still works, right?
Yeah, right. It's just remember, like the KonMari method is to actually hold the object and see if you still resonate with it vibrationally, right?
Correct. And because in there's not the closest I could get to what the word is that Marie really meant was joy. Yeah. And because in our Western civilization, we don't necessarily have that same concept, right? That just happened to be the closest translation. But you could use happiness. You can use energy, right? In yourself when you like something. It brings you joy, or it elevates you. It elevates your energy in some way. So exactly, which is the first component of the KonMari method, that joy check is what makes it so different and so completely unique from other organizing methods.
That's true. Because I think Cathy's going to have to come back. Y'all, we're not even halfway done through this interview, and I'm going to do the Marie Kondo method because I went off on another tangent because, squirrel, I'm a squirrel. Every new bling thing that comes into my periphery, I adopted. I do know that this other method isn't working at all for me, even with the gloves and the brighter light, because you're changing your perspective on what you're decluttering. There's sometimes certain things I want to tune into the vibration of it versus does it still have any value for me? I actually have to separate it, right? Because for me, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, you don't necessarily have to even change that thought process. So in the KonMari method, just to give you a clue, when you have that joy check, the question might be, yes, does it bring me joy? And or does it serve me? Yes. Because a pair of scissors, is it really going to bring you joy? Unless it was a gift from someone maybe and it meant a lot to you, but a pair of scissors, they're not going to give you joy. The pen, not really much joy, but do I have 50 million? Do I need 50 million? That's the subtle difference right there.
I like that. I'm a recovering dance performer, so I have bags and bags and bags of costumes, that some of it is super expensive. And it doesn't serve me anymore. It still brings me joy when I think about it. It just doesn't serve me now.
Which would mean that you get to go through the joy check if you wanted. And you would hold them to you as long as it's on you somehow, as long as you're touching it in some way, shape, or form, right? And you ask yourself, does it bring me joy? Does it make me happy? Does it light me up? Can I use it again? And if any of those are answered yes, and there's not this stagnant energy, sure, why not? And then you're going to give it a home. And if it does not serve you, you gratefully say thank you. And you give it away somehow, however that's going to look.
Yeah, I love that. Because a lot of times those of us who are getting better from some type of medical trauma or a family member going through medical stuff, right? It's really hard for us to come home and go, I'm going to declutter. There's no energy left.
Yeah, well, and because whatever energy you had, right, is now being usurped by whatever you're trying to get rid of, meaning you want to get well. Well, yeah, if your surroundings aren't necessarily supporting you, the last thing you want to do is try to think harder on it, right? So that's why it's so cool, because the Time Festival, as you said, believe it or not, it was funny that you would talk about how it's taking you like 6 months. On average, in the US now, just in the US, in Japan, where this method was originated, right? Because Marie Kondo is from Japan. There's not a lot of room everywhere in Japan, right? So they're 300 square foot homes, literally apartments. You could probably get through a tidying festival in a day, really. Here in the US, where excess is the norm, and
Yes.
that's me coming from living all my life in the US, an average tidying festival can take up to 6 months.
There you go. I'm well within that reason because I've been on my to-do list of decluttering for over a year now. Obviously behind the scenes, my husband had an accident. I had surgery. My daughter was in and out of the ER. When things like that happens, I want the audience to hear and see. You've got to give yourself grace when life happens. That's the first thing, right? Because if we can't get it done, then we start berating ourselves and just giving up on all the other goals.
Correct. And to your point, again, that was an average, right? So some people have taken longer than a year. Some people, because of literally, it comes down to someone could live in another, like I said, let's say apartment, right? That's less than 600 square feet. But if they had all the items that you just listed off, what makes you think really that they were going to get through a tiny festival at all, right? Life happens and you have to decide what's going to take precedence. If you're fighting for your life, organizing in any situation is not really going to be tops. You're going to be doing your best to stay alive. So to your point, I applaud you for even thinking about, this has to get done. Well, guess what? It will get done when you're mentally able to put the energy into it and then decide, okay, this is going to work for me. But I applaud you again, and anyone else who has tried any type of organizing. Again, most people see organizing as a very unimportant sort of task. And what I loved, again, about the KonMari method is simply the fact that she raised the bar. And not in a very hard way, not in a staunch way, simply in a spiritual way. She made you understand that your energy is directly linked to what is around you physically, right? Now, and that can include both your personal, right, and your professional. So she has books for obviously the original, which is your personal space, but she came out with a book about 2 years ago now, might have been even 3, for work, joy at work, so it just goes to show you that it does matter, and it just depends on when you're ready to go that route, so to speak.
Oh, I love that. I love that, audience. So here's the thing, my platform through Dance to Heal is the approach of the outside in. And if your surroundings don't allow you to have peace, it's kind of hard to work internally, to be honest with you, right, Cathy? Because when we first moved to this house from East Coast, we're in the West Coast, we actually had some boxes from when the children were young that I never opened at the other house that we finally had to open here in the garage because they ended up there for 5 years. And we noticed there's an actual rebound, because we're touching old things. Some of it have pretty charged memories.
Big time.
Yeah, how does one manage that, Cathy, when that happens?
Well, and thank you for, relaying that, because so a lot of people might think that the KonMari, or it's been confused, the KonMari method has been confused with the idea of minimalism, and they're not the same. I totally admire, in fact, I try to be a minimalist, right? But the KonMari method, funny enough, isn't about minimalism. It's about finding joy, right? Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting is someone like me who doesn't like to see a lot of stuff everywhere, right? I actually have to be okay if a client were to say, oh, I'm not going to get rid of anything. Oh my, okay. Mm-hmm. And a big and, you will find homes for everything then. And that's where the quantum lies. So to your, to what you were speaking about, it's important, I believe, that when you find stuff like that, because you're in the KonMari method, the time festival, you would literally go through 5 categories, right? And then theoretically, you shouldn't actually have anything left over, but it can happen, right? So it's not about necessarily a rebound so much as it is, oh, well, guess what? I didn't even know that was there. That happens, right? People have addicts. People have basements. Well, if it wasn't visually in front of you, right, out of sight, out of mind, it's okay that you missed it. And the best part is that you have now a system that you can go through to make sure that that attachment, that emotional attachment, doesn't hinder the idea of you going through these boxes that, again, have a lot of mental energy with them. And you're still going to be able to go through them. You'll appreciate it, you'll enjoy it, and then you'll decide what to do with the items.
Yeah, I love that. I love the reminder that, you can keep it. It just has to have a home where you could put it away.
Yeah.
I was on Instagram and there was an account that was talking about they had an app for their clothing in the closet.
Ooh.
And you could plan out your outfits with what you had inventoried. And right, Kathy, right? In the
I
and
have
I was
seen,
thinking,
yeah, I know
I
what you're
need
talking
that
about.
because sometimes I forget I already have pairs of black pants, but this black one looks really good. And I forget, oh wait, no, you've got amongst your laundry and the closet and the storage, you already have 4 pairs of black pants, Jenny.
And I think that is so cool. Like anything that can help you, right? Remember, because Einstein said it, he will always trust the short end of a pen, right? Or a pencil to his memory because he had more important things to think about, right? To that effect, I don't care how you decide, right? But I will say this, that with the KonMari method, that fourth component is the intention, the KonMari intention. Basically, it's like cognitive behavioral therapy. You get
Yes.
change, your mind changes, right? Well, what happened is what's so cool about this method, and it could be true about other organizing methods, but I only found it so staunchly evident in this one, was that, and I meant staunchly, sorry, that because of the intention that is then in your head now after that tiding festival, your mind loves, right, the easiest route, A to B. It's all it wants. I want to go from A to B as quickly as possible. With this method, the KonMari method, at the end, when you're finished, the fourth component happens to be the intention. When your brain loves what's going on because it doesn't have to worry and think so hard, when you're ready to hit prime, your brain is going to tell you, don't you even hit that, because I know visually, mentally, quickly, within a nanosecond, you have 4 pairs of black pants. You're not buying those. Like it will intentionally stop you. Your brain will say, no.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. But it's the same concept of having an app tell you, no, you're okay. You don't need all that.
Yeah, yeah. I just like because I know I have some form of undiagnosed ADHD because I've been just following in every single one of those posts. I'm like, I do that. Oh, that's me. Oh my gosh, how do they see inside my mind, you know? And I love the app idea, meaning if I'm gonna buy something on the internet, I can go right into this app that already has an inventory of what I have and go, no, you can't buy another black pair of pants, but you could buy that orange pair because you don't have any orange pants. Is there a place for it? Yes, it's a place for it. Ah, you can get that. You know what I mean? Because they always get me on the sale. And then that's my girl math thinking, oh, it's cheaper, really, but it's not. Yeah. I think our audience members, you're searching for answers, and these are just some perspectives for you to play around with. Ultimately, life is never stagnant. Things are changing a lot of times. And we just wanted, in this episode, is just start talking a little bit about it for you. I was telling Cathy before we hit the record button, in this space I'm in right now, it used to be just my office space, and we pulled my husband out of the bedroom because that's really just not good feng shui nor energy for him to be doing work in our bedroom. And then we realized, oh gosh, we both talk so loudly. I had to kick him out during the interview because his clacking keyboards or him on another call, there's just no way to cut the noise out, right? So this is just another story for you, audience. Like sometimes you try one thing, you may have to adjust a little bit to your own personal life.
I agree totally. I think that you might feel like somehow, like I would never want anyone to ever feel, no matter what they try, that they've somehow not completed it or feel
Exactly.
defeated and maybe not finishing. The fact that you gave it a try means that you have some intention. There was some intention behind it. So it's not about being perfect, right? It's about striving for excellence.
Yes.
Your excellence is going to look different on day one than on day 30.
Yeah.
And so I just hope that people understand that no matter what, as long as you give it a try, that's what kind of counts, right? us being human and realizing we can always do better.
Yes, I love that, being imperfectly perfect. That's really a soul's journey. All of us are learning during this time on earth. It's very interesting because even the most successful people who look like they have the most perfect lives, they're actually just as unhappy as we are behind the scenes, behind those posts. Like, let's be truthful. I mean, I remember going to my very first certification class for a dance format called the Chur style. And Rachel Bryce has gone, she's viral everywhere. And when she started doing certifications for people in her format, and we sat in a circle at the beginning of the first day, everybody's in awe of her and her then partner. And she opens up the circle going, I just want you to know I'm human. I go poo and pee just like you all do. I make mistakes. I'm going to do my very best, to not make mistakes. I'm just ask you not to put me up on that pedestal because I'll fall off. I will definitely fall off. And it's just really interesting that she called that on any of us who were starting to put up on a pedestal on the day one. And I would ask you the same thing. Audience, Cathy and I, we're also human, doing the best we can behind the scenes. So many things that we're dealing with, Cathy and I are both in the same pod for a mental fitness amazing app that if you would like to try it, it's part of our coaching methodology. So Cathy was kind enough to give us a link. I know there are those of you out there who are just resonating with Cathy and you want to do more work with her. Go to the link in the description and book a call with her, okay? Is there anything else that you need to know about booking that link with you, Cathy?
No, it's Acuity, and you just go ahead and book what you want, and I'll be fast to reply for sure.
Awesome. And if you're hesitating, right? Again, this is a repeat. I know sometimes they say someone has to offer something like 12 to 15 times before you act on it. I've told everybody else, I'm going to tell you again, if you go to danceandheal.com, you get a free cardio class with me and a stretching class. And then after that, you can ask yourself, when should I book my call with Cathy, right? Because if it's a no, it's a no. If it's a yes, it's a yes. You got to move on it fast and quick. Our subconscious doesn't like anything new, folks. It just can't help itself. It's just trying to keep you safe. So if any part of you has already convinced yourself this is not for you, I want you to ask yourself why. Because anything and everything can help you at any given time. Right, Cathy? So check out Cathy's booking link. Take my free class at danceandheal.com. And I think Cathy's going to have to come back because I think we have way more things we're going to talk about.
I would love to. Anytime, any place.
Yes, anytime, any place. And Cathy and I are about to start booking for our next slots with the PQ app for the mental fitness. So you really, really want to be a part of that. All right, Cathy, thank you so much for coming. We'll see you next time. Audience, have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?